It's time for everyone's favorite prediction game. On Sunday, the Seahawks will. Now, you gotta kind of look at this from an objective viewpoint. I mean, last week, all you Seahawks fans came in here. Seahawks are gonna blow out the Dolphins. They squeaked one out.
Yeah.
Okay. So, what do you got for us, Lacey? What's up?
I will say I was sweating a little bit on Sunday. I was a little nervous. I had to text Christian during the game and say, what is going on?
That's right.
But we were able to squeak that one out. So that one's behind us, got the win. Seahawks, I believe, will win this weekend. Coming into Sunday with the Rams, we have to consider Wilson's ankle injury. He started practice on Wednesday, which was yesterday, and is expected to play in this week's matchup. But will he be that mobile threat that he is? Very good at being able to scramble away from defense and create offense. Even with Wilson's injury, I think he will be able to find holes in the Rams' defense, and I think they'll be fine there. As far as the other end of the ball, the Rams' offense, or lack thereof, did not come to play on Sunday against the 49ers.
Way too soon.
Case Keenum, Rams QB, threw 2 interceptions, and the Rams were not able to put any points on the board. I think the Seahawks have better defense than the 49ers, and the Rams are going to struggle.
Your score prediction?
I don't have one. Give me a second to think.
Just vomit one out real quick.
I don't think the Rams are going to score, so...
Again?
Again.
They've
It's going to be a
scored
shutout.
So however many, so it does not matter
however many the Seahawks score.
So it's only going to take a field goal. It's only going to take a field goal or a safety. That's about it.
Yeah.
That's all it takes.
All right, Drew, what do you got for us?
So I just before we get into it, I just feel like Ndamukong Suh has a really bad habit of stepping on things.
That one was way more incidental than anyone in the past.
But again,
Still,
his track record.
He's got a really bad habit of stepping.
My brother was doing that the whole game. Oh, Ndamukong could step on his ankle. Step on his ankle.
I love
Come
Jonah.
on, that was fair play.
All
It
right,
happened.
All right. It's a bad habit. Go by association. The Seahawks will win without any doubt in my mind. The Rams were horrendous. Absolutely horrendous. They are the epitome of what the NFL is turned into, and that's a bubble screen league. This is what made him so unsuccessful against the Niners. Case Keenum and the Rams refused to throw the ball down the field. That's what you have to do to win games. I mean, bubble screen and Tavon Austin only works so many times. After the second time, it's a 4-yard loss every single time. And you refuse to alter your game plan when the Niners are sitting in cover 2 and man free. Throw a quick slant or a cover 2 fade. Would it kill you? I mean, good Lord. You're just getting blown up. Your wideouts are getting blown up behind the line of scrimmage. I mean, that's why the Hawks beat the Finns last week, too, because, Russell Wilson will throw the ball down the field. He's not scared to. Pete is not scared to launch the ball down the field. It's very obvious. And also, despite the buttoned-up look that the Rams displayed in Hard Knocks, their best defensive player and defensive leader, the nose tackle, Donald, his meltdown and 2-year-old temper tantrum while getting blown out by the subpar 49ers shows that they are very much the opposite. Pete runs a tight ship. Doug Baldwin and Russ seem to have picked up right where they left off last year. I think the Hawks are just going to absolutely roll the Rams.
So there's the Madden curse. Is there like a Hard Knocks curse as well? I'm not quite sure.
You have to look at the history.
No, they
I don't know.
They look so buttoned up on Hard Knocks. Like Jeff Fisher was running this tight ship. You're going to do this during the national anthem. I don't do this. And then your best defensive player and leader throws a 2-year-old temper tantrum in the middle of the field. I mean, what's this, kindergarten? We're going to set him to the corner to sit and think about it? Good Lord.
Jeff Fisher, in my opinion, should be on the hot seat, though. Let's be honest. He hasn't had the best record.
Hey, let's go 8-8. Just 5 years in a row now.
Right.
5 years.
But he kind of gets a pass.
All right, Kellen, what do you think?
So I'm going to go with the Seahawks will win. But again, folks, we got to focus on the Rams are going to come into this game with a lot of energy, playing in front of 90,000 screaming fans, with this being their first game at the Coliseum. It's very, very exciting for the new look LA Rams, not the St. Louis Rams. Obviously, I think the Seahawks are going to limit Russell Wilson's design runs big time. You talk about his injury coming off the ankle. Again, anytime you come off an ankle, it takes a couple weeks to get that ankle loose again, be elusive where Russell was before. Lord willing, Sierra has been giving him deep tissue massages and able to get that ankle ready to go. Which, no question, could be in the Rams' favor, knowing that Russell's not quite mobile as he normally is. But again, we look at last year, Russell showed that he can stand in the pocket and sling that ball to any target he wants to, whether it's Curse, whether it's Baldwin. Lord willing, Jimmy Graham can kind of get his act together for the Seahawks. Again, you look at last week, the Dolphins had a great defensive line. In my opinion, the Rams have even a better defensive line. So it's going to be a great challenge for up front the Hawks. And again, it's interesting looking at how the Hawks kind of delegate their money. They don't put a lot of money into the offensive line, in my opinion, and I take this from Coward, but I absolutely give him 100% credit. You got to build from the inside in. The Hawks like to kind of build from the outside in when it comes to the skill players. So I think the matchup is going to be very, very interesting up front. I do think it's going to be a low-scoring game because, the Rams have a great defense. But again, I think the Hawks are going to put a little bit of points up on the board. So I'm going to go with Seahawks 24 and Rams finally putting some points up on the board during the 2016-2017 season. So Seahawks 24, Rams 10.
That's what I was going to say 17-6, but that's a pretty good spread.
Yeah. What about you, Deej?
By the way, those new Seahawk unis are very fresh.
Unless you're colorblind.
Yeah. Just real quick here, no matter how bad the Rams are, they always have the Seahawks number. I was looking at a stat on SportsCenter.
Great point.
And I think the last 2 years, I want to say, the Rams are 3-1 against the Seahawks. And so I'm not going to go away from the stats. The Rams are going to do good in this one, but I think the Seahawks squeak it out 17-14.
Wow. Ooh, Cal Lou score.
Wow. I'm going to agree with DJ. I think the Seahawks will win. But like DJ says, it's not going to be as big of a blowout as people are thinking. It will be. The Seahawks gave up roughly 3 sacks a game in 2015. That's not even taking into consideration the hurries, the rushes, the touches on the quarterback. After week 1, there's really no evidence to say that offensive line is better, is there? I mean, the Dolphins chewed him up. You saw Justin Britt get rolled over by Ndamukong several times. The Rams are stacked along the defensive line. They had 41 sacks last season. We've talked about the Russell Wilson injury. That's going to play a factor whether people want to, believe it or not. He's not going to be as mobile as he was. And if the Rams' defensive line is chewing up the Seahawks' offensive line, which they have done before, it's going to be another tough ball game for the Seahawks, even though, Monday Night Football for the Rams and everyone got to watch them get pooped on. But really, it's going to be close. Score-wise, I like DJ's score. I don't know if it's even going to be that high scoring because, the Seahawks didn't show that they could run the ball against a good defensive line. 13-6, maybe? Something down low like that. I mean, it's not, the Seahawks, something's got to get going.
And, Kellen, to your point about the first game in the new Coliseum, last time I checked, the first kickoff in the new Coliseum didn't go over too well.
Is that a preseason? What happened?
It was taken back for a touchdown. The first kickoff in Coliseum, in the reopen of the Coliseum, the Dallas Cowboys took back for a touchdown.
Side note, did you see that the Rams are charging like $100 for parking?
Yeah.
Down there? That's ridiculous. Okay, back to football. So, obviously last week was our first time to see Seahawks in the arena facing live bullets. I'll use some Western terms.
Arena.
In the arena with some live bullets.
Quote the poem.
Real blood.
Who are a couple players who impressed you for the Seahawks last week? Kellen, who got your attention?
Yeah, I really thought Cassius Marsh did a great job in this football game. Again, he's a guy that's just, he's not going to get his name in the paper for the most part. He's kind of under the radar, but he had 4 total tackles, including one heck of a sack there in the fourth quarter. It was so cool how they showed an angle for the instant replay. He was full spread eagle right over Tannehill. It was awesome. A great play by that sucker. He got after it there. He also had a huge hit on special teams. And again, in my opinion, you look at the Seahawks, I have never seen more players play on special teams, and that just translate to them being on the field more when it comes to offense and defense. And I watched a post-game interview with Curse and Marsh, and they said it all starts with special teams because a lot of these guys were undrafted. They get drafted. They finally get on the Seahawks squad. They start in the special teams. They prove themselves. Then they play offense and defense. But they love special teams because that was their first love when they came in the NFL, and they stay on these special teams. So it's so fun to see all these guys that are scoring, that are making these great sacks on special teams. And again, special teams can have big-time impacts in the football game, and you saw that on Sunday.
Drew, who impressed you?
Dougie B, my boy Doug Baldwin, had a great game. 9 catches, 92 yards, 10.2 yards a catch, and touchdown. I mean, that's solid. That's Doug Baldwin's stat line. That's what you're going to see from him probably every single week.
And he finally got paid.
He finally got paid. Pay the man. As LeBron James said, just pay the man. Get
Yep.
a deal done. Let's play football. We need him.
Yep. All right, let's flip it now. Who left a little to be desired from the Seahawks last week? Who are you looking to see? Who should have had more? Who do you need to see have more?
Yeah, this is a tough question, and I hate to say his name. I'm going to go with Thomas Rawls. He only had 13 carries for 32 yards, so an average of like 3.1 per carry. I know he's coming off an injury. Obviously, I know what that's like. But in my opinion, I think he's better than that. I think he needs to do a better job when he's getting the football. And again, it's a lot of moving parts. It's the offensive line as well. It's also Russell Wilson, again, with that ankle injury, whether the handoffs aren't quite getting there on time or whatever the case may be. Football, especially in the NFL, is a game of inches, and it goes so fast. But for them to get going against the Rams' defensive line, I think Thomas Rawls needs to play better.
Drew, who do you need to see more out of?
Instead of a player, I'm going to take a unit. I'm going to take
That's
the
fair.
Seahawks O-line.
That's fair.
The Seahawks O-line left a lot to be desired. You know, they say leave it all on the field, as to use another Scott coaching colloquialism, little cliche. They left nothing on the field. Matter of fact, they might as well have not even showed up. Russell Wilson ran for his life per usual. I think that's what makes Russell Wilson really dangerous, though. Sometimes is his subpar O-line, but at the end of the day, you got to be able to run block. If you can't get engaged and get any push, just go home. Russell Wilson will move the ball on his own. He's done it now for 2 years, move the ball on his own right. So if the Seahawks want a balanced attack and want to start winning games big instead of just barely squeaking them out, the O-line's got to get some sort of push.
You got to think about the matchup though. It's the same matchup this week, even though they're missing that nose tackle. They're going to face.
But that's what we want to just see improvement, and that's what everyone wants to see is just the fact that they can play against a great D line in the playoffs. Lord willing, we get there. Every team has a great D line. So again, if this NFL was a 7-on-7 league, the Seahawks would be great.
Absolutely.
With the fact that their O-line is probably their weakest aspect on the football team, it makes it extremely tough.
That's absolutely right. Good stuff, guys.